All right, we're off. Adios, Santa Barbara Island. We'll get out from under the lee here of the island and see if we have enough wind to sail. I'm seeing 5 knots right now, true wind, which is not much. So let's hope that we get a little bit more coming up here. All right, and we've got some activity right straight in front of us. Looks like sea lions or seals. These guys all must be feeding, hanging out here. I see a little bit of kelp. There they are. You guys, I should have had a zoom so that you could see this water spout. There it goes. I think it's going up 20 or 30 feet. Quarter till 7. We still have 89 amps going into the house bank with about 14.6 amps to go. So we are almost fully charged. We burned about 50 amp hours last night, which is about standard if I'm not running a lot of other electronics and stuff like that with the fridge and charging up my phone. And you know, I left the VHF AIS on last night, and I think some of the instruments. So that's not too bad, about 50 amp hours overnight. What? Less than an hour of motoring gets us topped off. Seeing about 6 knots true wind behind us, which really isn't that much. Think I'm gonna go ahead and put up the main. We're getting a little bit of swells and bumps here. Maybe that'll ease the motion a little bit. If we don't have enough to drive us downwind, I'll just strap the main tight. But let's go ahead and get the main up. All right, 708, engine's off. We're making a blistering 2.8 knots right now. If I were super motivated, and I just have the Yankee out and the main, the staysail's not going to do anything. You can look at the wind, it's almost dead downwind. Not motivated enough to put the pole out this morning, and I mean, maybe I am, but I'm not motivated enough to do the ASIM single-handed today. We'll sail a little bit just to kind of enjoy not hearing the motor for a little, but my guess is at this point it's got us coming in at 3 or 4 p.m. at this speed, which is later and I want to get there. (7:36). I'm going to say currently about 5 nautical miles of visibility, almost. You can see Santa Barbara Island behind us, about 5 miles. Other than that, you can see overcast. 8:15. I'm doing 3.5 to 4 knots pretty consistently. Maybe a little closer to 4 knots, not quite. About 12 knots of true wind. I've got 1 bar on my phone here, and I'm in the Predict Wind Offshore app. And I just downloaded the weather routing and the grid files. So it's nice when I'm 19 miles from Catalina and 7 miles from Santa Barbara Island that I can still get 1 bar out here. So this is cool. I'll take a look and see what the weather's going to look like. At this point, if I keep sailing at this speed, I'm going to be coming in right before 2 p.m. into Cat Harbor. A little look at what's going on with the sailing here. A little rolly. That's what you get when you're going mostly downwind. Now this boom, every once in a while, will do exactly what it just did right there. So I could put a line at the end of the boom towards the bow, called the preventer, and that would keep the boom from bouncing back and forth as we get these little waves and roll a little bit. When you're headed downwind, especially if you go wing and wing like with the pull out, you're likely going to be rolling quite a bit. Now the head sail is bouncing around a little bit. This is a Yankee, so it's not really a great downwind sail anyways. And I could trim it a lot better. .38, we were doing a little less than 2 knots. Our winds died down a little bit. We don't have much, so we're just kind of drifting. I don't want to get in at 5 o'clock tonight. I want to get in a little bit earlier, so we're going to go ahead and motor, and we'll just tighten up the main, pull it in while we're motoring, and pulling the head sail, do a little motor sailing for a little bit, get a little closer. If the wind picks back up, we'll kill the engine and start sailing. Only hear the Coast Guard side of this. Somebody called in Mayday.
Roger, how many people do you have on board?
So we'll see if this is anything hopefully not serious. Hopefully it's just a knucklehead.
Roger, and what is your current GPS position? That's on trip of this Coast Guard sector lake. Can I also get a description of your vessel to include length, make, color, and type? Roger, and are you guys under sail currently?
Sailboat.
Roger, do you guys all have life jackets on board? Are you all wearing your life jackets currently? Roger, Captain, what island are you guys off of?
May I ask for coordinates first?
Roger, Captain, you're currently in the harbor? Are you currently at the entrance? Channel 9 Harbor Master Sector. Roger, good copy. Thank you. We'll be standing by 22 and 16.
Dolphins. There's 3 of them. Right on. About time we had some company. Pretty relaxing. A quarter after 11. A little haze and fog, that's where we're headed. The west end's pretty clear. See a couple of fishing boats out there. Still see Santa Barbara Island behind us in the distance. And that's about 20 miles behind us at this point. Some dolphins off to starboard. I'm almost wondering if those are rissos. About 4 miles to Cat Harbor. You can see Ribbon Rock there. Ironbound Cove. Too much further. Visibility's, it's going to be okay, but there's clearly less visibility here at the island. A lot of it's, you know, a little bit above the water, which is good. And then you still have 22 miles that you can see all the way down to Santa Barbara Island. Drop the main while we're underway. All right, we've got about 1.5 miles to the entrance to Cat Harbor. There's the Catalina Head, we call the pregnant lady. That's the entrance. We'll just go right past that. 11:52, 12:52, and we're snubbed. So you have this cruiser, trawler, whatever it is behind us. SV blew away over there. There's the pin, the Coast Guard buoy, and pin rock. So it looks like we're pretty good, and we are in 80 feet of water. All right, the crew from SV blew away. It's like we have a captain's hour in the making.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
Cheers, guys. Right on. Looks So we got about 6 knots of wind, really pretty clear view of San Clemente Island. Sailing vessel blew away, and a couple of the boats that were at anchor popped out, including that large trawler yacht that was behind us. So we'll haul up and we'll get underway, and we'll put the main up at least. There's a casting, am I gonna have to go down and adjust it? I think we got it. Yoo! Look at that. Adios, Cat Harbor. Adios, sailing vessel blew away. Adios, Coast Guard buoy. Alright, not quite enough wind to sail with, but main is up. It's a little like yesterday. We got a little bit more sun behind us, but still have a low cloud cover, so we may still have a little fog. Got Eagle Rock in view in the distance there. Ribbon Rock coming up here to starboard. It's a fishing vessel Triton. 9 o'clock, let's see how our charging situation's going. Still pulling in 85 amps. And we're down 68. So we've put in 80, 90 amp hours in batteries. 9 o'clock update. We're getting not too far from the west end. We'll be coming up on Eagle Rock here pretty soon. You have a look behind us. Still see a little bit of this scud, these low-hanging clouds or fog over the island. But behind us it looks pretty clear. I can see San Clemente Island off in the distance on the water. And then I think Santa Barbara Island I can see over here in the distance. And then to the front of us, just right to starboard, is Eagle Rock. Must be good fishing here. At least it looks like it would be. We see a lot of boats up here hanging out. Sails are up. A little bit of wind. See if we can't do a little sailing here. Maybe not much. Let's do it. Not too bad. 4.5 knots with a little less than about 9.5 knots of true wind. Moving along quite nicely. Let's just hope the wind holds up. I'm expecting at some point the wind's gonna come more from the northwest. So it looks like we've got a little east, southeast in this wind. I don't know what's going on. This will change before we get to this afternoon. So at some point it'll probably will die. Then we'll see a shift. Then the wind will start building again from the northwest. Here's how you can tell it's a holiday weekend. Look at all of the boats leaving Catalina Island after the tail end of a Memorial Day weekend. Look at that. Those are just the ones with AIS. Almost 10:30 and we're still sailing, making a couple of knots. Actually, I feel a little breath more of wind, but you can see the parade of boats. These two sailboats do what I usually do in light winds. If I have somewhere to go, their mains are up, but their head sails are down, so they're almost certainly motoring. Two sailboats look like they have full canvas up, maybe sailing. But we're about 45 or so degrees off, so we really want to head that way. But the wind's been coming mostly behind us. So I keep turning over to starboard, waiting for the wind to shift. And then as soon as we get that shift, and we may not be far away from it, as soon as that wind shifts, then we'll jibe and we'll get onto a port tack. But right now we're enjoying the starboard tack. Kind of, sort of, filling up the sails sometimes with wind. Not much. We've been doing about 2.5 knots. Maybe we're doing a little bit faster now. All right, didn't capture this on video. I just threw in a jibe. So now we're on a port tack. So the boom's on the starboard side. The wind's coming across the port. It's a port tack. The wind is coming off of our port aft. It's a little bit of a broad reach right now, but still like 5 knots of true wind. So we're still gonna go pretty slow, but we'll see if we pick up a little bit here. This should be the tack to get us home. A couple hundred meters, but it looks like we've got a few dolphins over to port. Barely see the fins popping out of the water. The way they're spread out like that and swimming real slow kind of reminds me of rissos. Yep, those are rissos, confirmed. You look real closely at them, you can see the scars on the adults. Catamaran motor sailing through. This is the kind of nonsense when you try and sail with no wind and have no preventers on or anything like that. Of course now it's stopped, but every little wave and your boom is rattling around. Love it when a plan comes together. Well, at least for the moment. It's 11:30 and I'm seeing 7.8 winds of true now off my port quarter, and we're doing 3.6, 3.7 right now. So we were down to 1 knot just flogging around, and I was just about ready to just throw in the towel, kick up the engine. I thought, nah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna sail across today, and just being patient, hoping that the weather gods, the wind gods, will reward us. Look at this guy flying low. Towboat US Catalina towing that cruiser. It's a long way from Catalina all the way back. My guess is we're going to hear a bunch of other disabled boats this afternoon since it's Memorial Day. So these guys are going to be pretty busy turning it around. Towboat Isthmus coming back. Probably on their way back to pick up somebody else. 12:35, I threw in the towel a little bit. Bands of keel dragger flying over. Six knots of true wind speed isn't doing a lot for us when we're just under sail, but it's adding a little bit. So we're cruising in the high 6s, almost 7 knots. That's the only ship of concern right now, that big red tanker in the shipping lanes. And he's probably 4 miles out or so, maybe 5. So we're gonna pass well behind him. Not much going on over to port. A few boats over to starboard. Everybody's kind of racing home from the island after a holiday weekend. Another YouTube subscriber. 2 o'clock. We are still seeing 5.5 knots of true wind, which means we are still motor sailing. We have about 4.5 miles to the gate. So this may be it as far as sailing goes for today. So Vessel Assist San Pedro, which is probably this boat right here. Vessel Assist Cabrillo. Cruising past us. 241 just coming up on Angel's Gate. This cutting super close on the port side of Angel's Gate's not a super cool thing in my book. If there's a power boat coming around, they won't, I mean, they might see your mast. Sails are down, fenders are out. Looks like we got the LA Fire Department boat here. Still have some ships in for Fleet Week. This D-bag's gonna get graded way too close to that warship.